I spent 3 years of my life on matrimonial apps talking to absolute assholes thinking मेरी तो arranged marriage ही होगी, only to end up meeting my partner on a dating app and ended up in a love marriage. Grab your popcorns because I'm spilling all the tea today. We are now going to time travel back to April 2023 where I had just wrapped up talking to someone I had met on a matrimonial app. We spoke for over a month, which is the longest I'd spoken to anyone on one of those apps, and things didn't fit well, so we obviously called it off. I was so done with matrimonial apps. It was such a harrowing experience that I told myself that I'm not going to open any of those apps for a really long time. My best friend then tells me why don't I go back on dating apps since matrimonial apps are not working for me, and I tell her that I've gone on those apps 1,000 times and nothing's ever worked, and sometimes it's worse than matrimonial apps. But you know how best friends are, they're so pushy, and I told her, okay, I'm gonna listen to you and give Bumble one last shot, and ended up downloading the app in May 2023. And that's when I matched with my now husband. So his profile comes on my feed. Malayali guy, looks cute, had a very decent bio with actual words and not just like kindergarten replies. And I swiped right. He had already swiped on me, so it was an instant match. As usual, I think it was some 11:30 in the night, I sent a hey and went back to sleep. I wake up in the morning next day and he had sent a reply. It was a Sunday. We just ended up casually chatting. And that continued for like 2 weeks. And by the end of a week and a half, he asked me out on a coffee date. And I said, sure, let's go. Our first date was a very simple coffee date. But it was so much fun that it lasted like 3 hours. I went back home thinking, oh, that was a nice date and we could be really good friends. He went back home and asked me if he can now text me on WhatsApp. And I said yes, and then we started regularly chatting. We went on casual dates for like 2.5, 3 months. I know, don't judge me. Without labeling it anything, and it was super fun. Like, we had really good, interesting conversations. He was funny. I could be myself with him. But as is usual, if things are going too well, kuch to problem hogi. At the end of the 3rd month of seeing each other, when we sat down to discuss where we see this going, we both were on very different pages. And it's not like either of us didn't know that about each other from the beginning, but we were just having so much fun. We were just going with the flow. Don't judge me, okay? I really like this guy. Anyway, the moment I realized that we are both actually not on the same page about our future together, I called things off. I told him I don't want to be in touch, and I said my goodbyes. We literally stopped talking to each other overnight. Anyway, this was October 2023, and November 2023, I was back on matrimonial apps. So then, how did the guy I called things off with in 2023 ended up being my husband in 2025? इसका part 2 तो बनता है. Stay tuned for part 2.